Hello, I'm Debra, licensed marriage and family therapist, and I chose to go live Tuesdays and Thursdays and Tuesdays to talk about politics because, in a nutshell, I talk a lot about the nervous system. I'm trauma informed and promote love, trust based interventions and ways of being, because all negative comes from a state of stress, unmet needs, and lack of skill. And in order to heal and reduce the negative effects of trauma, and trauma is anything that happens too much, too fast, too soon for our unique nervous system, and then disconnects us from our innate intelligence and our ability to develop in a holistic and integrated, healthy way. And we need a safe place to express and make sense of what's happening in our lives. So I want to do these pause and process. And I also want to help people that actually less is more. Obviously, I'm a therapist and I promote therapy, yet there are many ways to process. And the thing is, we need to find outlets to express it. And so I love to teach fun, simple ways to actually do that. And although I am a therapist, I'm also a human who is going under right now in a lot of stress. My last talks, I'll weave in a lot about polyvagal theory and our nervous system. All what I share is relevant because if you have a nervous system, then this matters because our nervous system is what's on 24/7, protecting us, helping us function. And if we're not aware and not taking care of ourselves, then our nervous systems and all our systems in our body can't function as well. And it creates a whole host of disease, disconnection, disharmony. So understanding your nervous system is vital, and relationships is where we heal. We are wired to be in relationships. So I love teaching about the nervous system and our brains and our minds and our bodies. So I'm sharing this, check in where you're at. Top of the world, we're feeling connected, our needs are being met, we can see clearly. The middle is sympathetic activation. We're feeling agitated, frantic, and as I'm hearing my cat meow, that is making me feel a bit sympathetic because I am moving, not necessarily moving. I've lived in New Zealand for a long time and I'm going to return to New Zealand. And so I had this cat, as I've talked recently, also in my other videos, represents, we feel, as the energy of my mother, because the cat appeared when my mom died, the morning my mom died. And so my sister gave me the cat and I got the cat neutered. So the cat is not happy and very stressed. So when I hear the crying, it activates my nervous system because I feel it's suffering. It wants to go outside, can't go outside. So fortunately, that is what came up for me in that. And so that is sympathetic. And then also dorsal is then we are just so overwhelmed. We feel numb, collapsed, shut down. It's just too much. There's a lot more to this, obviously. And as of late, when you look at what's going on in the world and what's going on personally, I'm feeling a lot at the bottom. So I'm showing up there as a human, going through things. And so I did want to, it was just Easter. And I raised my children in the Southern Hemisphere, which was a unique experience. And it was interesting being American. It's very different in New Zealand. Obviously, it's different seasons, so it's not spring. And so it really got me to reflect a lot. And so I share a link to my reflection on that and parenting. And overall, I get overwhelmed by the consumerism. It kind of makes me sick. Just buy, money, the business model of everything. And I own a business. I'm blessed that, I come from small business owners, so I understand the ethos and what it takes to run a business. Yet I know for my own personal business, I can't stand the business model like that. Just go, 24/7, must meet everyone's needs, it overstimulates my nervous system so much that, I recently was blessed to finally hire assistants, and it was so good to be like, hey, Like, I'm using my model. Your life, your well-being comes first. Like, if for me, I'm not afraid of losing clients. There's enough people who need love and support and safe places. I'm not worried that I'm gonna not have that. So, I have many times, and actually for years, put not taking any more clients because my well-being matters, because of things that I've been going through. So I'm not I don't I want to educate people. Like, so much is fear-based. Like, you got to do this, you need this, and that's what gets you to go. And that is so activating for our nervous system, and just is creating stress hormones beyond. And so, I was pretty annoyed last week or a couple weeks ago when I saw the administration's plans for how they were going about celebrating Easter, a holy holiday, with allowing people to, companies to, whatever, put their name on it, profiting, I don't, whatever, advertising. And then I saw an image of Trump showing children a picture, the card of him in his assassination attempt. Like, you don't do that. Like, no. Like, it blows my mind every freaking day what shows up that is so, so insensitive, so traumatizing. I'm speechless. Like, I can't, and this is, I'm falling into dorsal very often because I can't. And this is why I'm showing up at these talks, because I need an outlet to be able to express what's happening. And again, I'm not here to change anybody. I respect that everyone is coming from their own worldview, and everyone's needs and cares and fears are valid in their own right. And yet I serve those who cannot speak. I serve those who are vulnerable and at risk. And so I am choosing to use my voice as a platform to speak up for people who don't have access to resources. And it really ticks me off. People are, oh, just work hard. Just, they don't get what the systemic trauma. And I did a talk not long ago showing this image. This is done by Magdalena Weinstein. The layers of trauma that affects people, that is outside of their control. And to develop a healthy nervous system, you need safe environments. And so many people, especially of color, disadvantaged, their environments are just the perceptions of how people perceive them. It's an interaction feedback. This is another image I'll show quite often. When we develop as a human being, we're this individual, and every system we are in, it has an interplay of how it affects us. And our environment, how people are treating us, we develop our self-sense and knowing by how we are being treated, how people are responding, typically reacting. I talk a lot. Reaction is when we're coming from fear, we'll all react. Response is when you're actually take a moment to take a step back, which is why I do these talks. I'll show this a lot, often in all my talks. This is a jar with dirt and glitter. And now, since I opened it, there's bacteria in there too. Great science experiment. I do this with kids. I do family therapy. But you see something and it takes 1/8 of a second. We are reacting. We are all reacting. Our nervous system is on 24/7. Neuroception is that term. You can look at my other talks where I talk more about it. We are all going to react based on our lived experience. And it takes time, at least 20 to 30 minutes, for our nervous system to settle so that we can see things clearly. So again, I put this up here as a reminder of why I'm promoting pause and process, because if we don't make time to process it, it will come out in our health, in our relationships, and it will create a muck in our lives. And we are in muck. I'm speechless. So those were some topics, like I mentioned, the business model, the 24/7 overstimulation of bye, you need more. It just is feeding off fears. It fuels fears. It's just most of us are not getting our vital needs when we are developing in our 0 to 7, when we're doing our biggest, when we're the most vulnerable. And so we're coming from lack and insecurity. I'll talk more about attachment, but most of us are wired, we are insecure. And so when someone says something, activate our fear, it shakes us, it wakes us up. And fear a useful strategy to make things happen. However, it creates long-term harm. It gets immediate results, but it creates long-term harm. So I was really disgusted to see a holiday, again, whatever your faith is, but to me, Jesus is a role model, and what he suffered and what the meaning behind his story is. I'll often, I'm the story that, like he cleaned the feet of prostitutes. Like that is like the stories of Jesus and being with the leopards, like that is who he is. To me, and that's the lessons that I take, and that every day is a new day to rise again and to reflect on what we are projecting and what we are doing. And then I read the message of the the head of the administration. If you'll notice, I don't use his name for many reasons, due to my own trauma history. But it was just so much hate and projection and hurt, just fear-based language. Whereas the Pope recently died, and then you read his and listen to his message. And again, I'm not just like, oh, one's all good, one's all bad. Not at all. Everything exists on a continuum. I look at the essence of love and trust. And when you understand neuroscience, there is a way of being that resonates, that when you're in alignment with your higher self and connected to your innate intelligence, there is just a way about you that happens that you can feel, and it's real. So that's what I look at. And so, yes, we need change in our society, and I can even see some value in some of the policies that are going forward. Some, I say slimmer, I can see value. Yet there's a way to create change with respect and dignity, and empathy is actually vital. You need that. So I've done some talks because I relate, whoever is being a leader, I relate it to parenting styles. We need to, when you're creating change for the well-being, health and safety for the greater whole, yes, you have to set limits, yet you can do that with kindness and love. And that is what I promote. So I hope that whatever served you this Easter, you did for yourself. I personally, I'm not traditionally a person to celebrate holidays for my own reason. I had saw my mother just go extreme on holidays into me, and then she'd just be so stressed and yelling, and her nervous system was so dysregulated. And so she was just, to me, I just saw my mother suffering, which then in turn created in suffering in me. And so every time holidays come around, I'm just like, I just want to shut down. I'm like, I don't want a bar of any consumerism of having everything look a certain way. I just want to be present. And so I was blessed that I did get the Easter that I enjoyed. My son also, because he was raised that holidays are we obviously we connect, might have a special meal. But I believe every holiday, whatever that holiday is symbolizing, to bring that in every day. And so for me, every day is a new day to rise again. And so he typically works because he's used to not making a holiday a big deal. And so he's available to work, so other people who want to be with their families and do things, which is totally fair. But to each is their own. You do what serves you. But with him being at work, I had the space to myself, which why I'm also going through so much, because at the time my mother passing means I need to find somewhere else to live, which is there's no, even as soon as I learned, I was getting messages from family members, oh, you got a month, you're gonna have to find somewhere to live. Wow. So doing my best to go through 81 years of her belongings and our family history, which, yes, has skeletons in the closet, has dysfunction. Everything that I touch, I was reminded of another story, because everything I touch, everything has meaning to me. Everything matters to me. I'm a sensitive person, and so like I can't just go throw things away. Also, because I don't want to dump things in the garbage bin. Like knowing that there's landfills just filling with plastics and stuff like hurts my heart. So I want to make sure everything goes. And so I even had, I was reflecting on a story. I remember my daughter was young and she'd get over, obviously cleaning her room's a big deal. And I remember her being so, like, again, obviously as a parent, you're tired and exhausted, stress, all negative behavior comes stay stress, needs, lack of skill. So, I'd be stressed and then I'd be like, how do, clean your room? And I'd catch myself. And I remember one time, as I paused and listened to her and she said, but everything feels alive. And when she said that to me, she's like, I have a hard time cleaning and throwing things away because everything feels alive. And as I'm going through this house, that is so how I feel. Like I can't just throw like everything is alive to me. Like this was touched by human beings in my family. Like my mom saved this for a reason. Like I just want to like soak it all in. So going through this has been really trying for me. And then to have to look at what's happening in our political scan and just seeing the disruption, the trauma, there's just the moral fiber being torn to shreds. Oh man, it's heavy. So thank you for listening to me. I usually in these, I talk for the first 15 to 20 minutes and I'm feeling tearful. I'm going to breathe. So now I do the last bit. We'll breathe together and please notice if anything I said activated you, triggered you, you felt anything. I promote therapy. I wish everyone would go to at least once, even if you think you're fine and you don't need it. Because a lot of what happens to us is implicit in memory. It happens unconsciously and it plays out in our health, in our relationships, especially in our intimate relationships. So if anything came up that was interesting, I encourage you. I'm also on BetterHelp. I have my own private practice. It's so important for you to find someone who's going to be a safe place for you. And I always say it's like, it might not be me. That's why I offer free consults because, it has to be a good fit for you. So please listen, take a moment and breathe. If it feels comfortable to close your eyes, you want to make sure your environment is safe and comfortable. You could sit, you can lay down if you want, because I am going to walk us through actually a sound meditation. As I'm so overwhelmed right now, I'm going with things that are just natural to me. And so this is one of the meditations that I first learned. My son is 20, so he was 2 years old when I learned of this one. And so it's deeply integrated into my mind and body. So I'm going with what's easier because I need a lot of peace and ease right now. Just want to call attention. Look at the jar, how this is as we give ourselves space. And it can feel uncomfortable at first. So just breathing in through your nose, long exhale through your mouth. And I'll talk a lot about mindfulness is just paying attention in the current present moment without judgment, with compassion, and with curiosity. There's no right or wrong here. Notice if you can feel your heart beating. Notice if you feel any tension. I'll share with everyone I work with a scale. Like I'll share that polyvagal nervous system state to have people check in where they're at because we're all going to go up and down that nervous system. But I'll also use a scale 0 to 10. 0 is feeling calm, connected, aware, compassion, confident, and 10 is the most disturbance you've ever felt. Police, emergency services are being called. But whatever that scale looks like to you, see where you're at. before getting into this, I was probably about a 5 on my scale. I actually feel a little better. That's why being able to express and process and share and having some tears. Tears are actually healthy sign. Good. It's okay if you don't cry. Just it's okay if you do. So now I'm feeling about a 3, 4. Went down a little bit. I'm still live, which still is stimulating. So what I'm going to ask you to do when I'm talking about sounds, one of these first meditations I heard was just to get you familiar with getting present in the moment, because it can feel uncomfortable. Yet in our society, we don't promote rest. Usually if someone's resting, there's judgment of lazy, you're not doing enough. We got to do this, or, someone's going to get mad at you. Go, 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 go. Yes, bills have to be paid. Not saying that. However, we need to give our nervous system rest and space so that we can be our best self. So thank you for showing up and just breathing in. And I just want you to notice while you're breathing, consciously in through your nose, out through your mouth, notice any sounds that you're hearing or any distractions. So I'm just going to role model. So as I breathe in, I'm noticing my exhale was a big release. I could hear that breath. I can hear my inhale. I can hear a plane outside in the distance. It's actually getting closer now. I first practiced this at a grocery store. Well, first I started in my living room, and then I applied it in public in the grocery store. But as I was feeling overwhelmed, and you just get back into your body, because your body keeps a score and needs attention and nurturance. I just noticed this isn't sound related, but I noticed my feet were very tense, so I am laying them flat on the floor. That is important to be grounded if you're seated, to lay your feet on the floor. I'm noticing the chatter in my own mind. We have parts of us that a lot of us have an inner critic. So mine chimed in. Did you miss anything? Did you do anything wrong? Did you say too much? And as you notice it, you just notice it, and then you go back to your breath, your breathing. Another image, it's common when we're under stress that we ruminate. We'll spiral, ruminate. We might just get caught in a loop, negative feedback loop. And so if you're noticing that happening, it's nice to just have a visual of sending it away. I love the visual of like the wind blowing it away. So if there's something that just keeps coming up and you can't listen to the other sounds because something just keeps churning, notice that. Yeah, I am consumed and focusing on this. My brain can't stop worrying about this, and then let it blow away. You might be noticing my breath. You might hear birds. You might hear cars or coworkers. And I'm actually going to play a sound bowl. Plays a frequency. This actually had been on my wish list for a long time. I had to learn how to use it. And I just want you to notice how this sound is. And again, hopefully you'll keep practicing breathing in, exhaling, and noticing whatever comes up without judgment and curiosity, and with extra attention to the sounds. And scan from head to toe. Notice any thoughts, feelings, sensations. How did your nervous system, what was the journey your nervous system went on from listening to me talk, to the attention to the sounds around you, to the healing frequency, to the silence? And although we all have a nervous system, we respond differently based on our first years of life and what was happening to our mother when we were in the womb, and what's going in and around our environments. That's why it's so important to make time to pause, listen, and attune to your unique nervous system. And let's take another big inhale. And on that exhale, really blow out anything that came up today that does not serve you, that you want to let go and let your higher power, the universe, the earth, whatever works for you. Release it to God, whatever you conceive, your higher power. And breathe in light. Any intentions or words, I often bring in peace and ease and love and trust is what I want to breathe in, and faith. And hopefully you're feeling a little bit lighter. I have found that the more that you have in that go consumerism business model, that it's like you're so compacted that we have a lot that you might not feel, especially if you have a lot of trauma you haven't processed, that you might not feel the ease yet. And so that's okay. Nothing's wrong with you if you did not get any peace and ease. And yet the majority of the time, taking really conscious nurturing breaths will bring some softness, some release, some lightening, some expansion. in your mind, your body, and spirit. So that is what my intention and gift that I want to give anyone who shows up. So thank you so much for showing up for yourself and listening as I process my reflections on some really difficult things that are going on in our world and in my own life. So please subscribe, share. I share positive reframes as well, videos. And I go live Tuesdays and Thursdays. This Thursday, I am going to show, I'll often use my hands as I'm talking about the brain. So I'm actually going to do my hand model to talk about the nervous system on Thursday. So thank you so much. Take wonderful care.